swear that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Have a seat, please.
Proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cusinelli. Can you please state your full name for the court?
Robert Cusinelli.
And you work for WHDH Channel 7, is that correct?
Correct.
And in what position?
Photographer, editor.
And how long have you been with the station?
16 years.
And you understand that questions have arisen about some events that occurred yesterday, is that correct?
Indeed.
And could you describe for the court, in fact, what happened yesterday involving the your acts in the WHDH vehicle?
Earlier in the day, I was made aware that our station thought it would be good information to have the location where the jurors were getting on and off the bus. So later on in the afternoon, when the jurors were done for the day, I saw the bus at the back of the court. I was available and saw the opportunity to follow the bus and find the location where the jurors were parking their cars.
Did anybody from WHDH instruct you to follow the bus?
Not specifically, but I knew they felt that that was good information to have.
Right. Did at any time you have any intention of interacting with the jurors?
No, absolutely
process?
not.
Did you believe you were doing anything wrong at the time?
At the time, no.
Right. And did you, in fact, have any communications with any of the jurors?
No.
And I understand that there was some concern about the fact that the car that you were driving appeared to circle the area. Can you explain why that was?
I pulled over in a metered spot next to the parking lot and entered my location into my GPS. I then entered the location of this courthouse to get back to where I wanted to pick up my reporter, and I followed my GPS around the block, which brought me past the parking lot a second time to get back to this courthouse.
And just to confirm, at no point during that process did you actually speak with or otherwise interact with any of the jurors?
No, I know that's forbidden.
All right. And again, just to reaffirm, did you believe at the time that what you were doing was improper in any way?
At the time, no. I see now that it was a mistake.
And in your 16 years as a photographer for Channel 7, have you ever encountered any issues legal issues with respect to how you conducted yourself as a photographer?
No.
Right. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Did you write down the names of any of the license plates?
No.
And did you take pictures of any of
No.
the license plates?
No.
Thank you. Any additional questions that either counsel wish the court to pose? Thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.
Mr. Gasson, what sanctions, if any, you think the court should impose?
Well, Your Honor, the statute that applies here obviously is intended to prevent any tampering or influence with jurors during the course of the trial and their deliberations. And of course, the media does have a right to attempt to talk with jurors once their service is discharged. It was clearly Mr. Cusinelli's intention to put Channel 7, and this is common in the media industry, in a position to attempt to talk to the jurors after their service was discharged. I think it is clear that at no point did he have any intention of interacting with or certainly influencing the jury's deliberations in the process. He's obviously, if he had to do it over again, he certainly wouldn't do it that way. Feels very bad, and Channel 7 as a news organization obviously takes these issues very seriously. They take their role in reporting important matters such as this trial seriously, but they also take very seriously protecting the provenance of the jury. And there was no intention either by Channel 7, certainly, who, as Mr. Cusinelli said, nobody in the management of Channel 7 directed him to do so. I think what happened here, in fairness, Your Honor, is an experienced photographer made a snap decision at the time that was, in hindsight, not a very good one, and is sorry, and most importantly, for Your Honor's purposes, did not impact the jury deliberations here.
Thank you. The court concludes, based on what the jurors have indicated and on the testimony of Mr. Cusinelli, that Mr. Cusinelli intended to go to a location where jurors would be, because his method of trying to determine where the media might attempt to interview jurors post verdict was by following a bus designed to discharge jurors, and therefore he intended to go to a location where jurors were highly likely to be. This court has previously issued an order, and that order specified that no person shall contact a juror. Specified a lot of other things, but among others, that no person shall contact a juror. The Supreme Judicial Court has construed the word no contact as including staying away. The Supreme Judicial Court has stated that a no contact order, in addition to precluding communication, also mandates being physically separated from the subject of the order. The court went on to state that staying away from an individual is one form, probably the most important and most fundamental and important form of not contacting that person. Mr. Cusinelli, by going to, parking, being in that spot where there were jurors, where there were both anticipated to be jurors and where there were jurors, in a broad fashion, came into contact with those jurors. I accept his testimony that while he was asked to figure out the location, he was not, the idea of following the bus and following the jurors was something that he came up with on his own, and that there was no intent by WHDH to undermine the court's order or to undermine the deliberations. The court will therefore order Mr. Cusinelli off this trial, that he cannot, as a photographer, editor, or well, he can, as an editor, I'm not trying to affect what he does outside the building, but he cannot come into this building or be driving a WHDH vehicle for purpose of doing reporting work on this case while this case is until there has been a verdict that has been rendered in this case. I am not going to further sanction WHDH as an entity or preclude Mr. Barnett or others from WHDH from coming into the building, or preclude them from having a substitute photographer to work on the matter.
Very well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Would all rise?